Yeah. So basically, like I was saying, part four. If you're a TI, you know why it keeps cutting out in it. Yeah. So basically, part four of this. Um, so as it happens, I think the approach has been measured and it's touched our thoughts. Yeah, because thinking about it now, I've had time with all these interruptions to think about an example where I've faced a racism that's similar to what they described there. It's like when you try to talk to a woman from another race, and then she turns around and tells someone from her race, "Are you gonna let him talk to me like that? Like, what's the difference between him and him?" You know what I mean? As in, the implication is, are you gonna let a black dude talk to me like that? Yeah. So that you could say, you know, that it's because you can't. I've never seen black people do that to me. You know, that had connotations on race. Yeah. So, but then the mission of cleaning up corruption sounds like a contradiction, but it's a valid point. It's valid because corruption that's fair is better than corruption that's not. Ideally, you'd rather there is no corruption, but if it is a way, if it's part of life that we have to accept, at least we might as well try and make it fair. I suggest that people who are unfair shouldn't be afforded the capacity to be corrupt, the privilege of being corrupt. It should be a privilege afforded to the right characters. The people who don't know how to be corrupt, people who mess it up for other people. That look, these guys that caused the Black Lives Matter movement to act like this messed up. Now everybody else who was getting away with little things like that can't get away with it. They've ruined it for everyone because their corruption was unfair. Yeah, you can't have a racial component inside of an institutional corruption component. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can't be institutionally corrupt then have a racial component to that corruption. We've got to clean that up. Yeah, I mean we've got two things to clean up, but this is like a child element, and that's the parent element. So if we clean up the unfair practices within the corruption, yeah, then we can start looking about looking at how we can limit corruption. So first of all, we need to ensure that corruption is fair. That's why I gave them an A minus. This really needed to be put out there in people's minds. Yeah, we need to clean up corruption. Ideally, for me, I'd rather there is no corruption, but this is real life. It's not TV. There is corruption, and we have to deal with it. But we want it to be clean. We can't just say, I'm gonna be corrupt. Yeah, but I'm just gonna target certain people. No, for corruption to be healthy for everyone, I shouldn't be trying to teach you on um, how to have healthy corrupt behavior, but we have to nowadays because it's part of life. Everything has to be geared towards fairness, even if it's bad, if you like. It has to be geared towards fairness. If you're equal opportunities, I'm somebody who's equal opportunities. I'll slap up a man regardless of what color. I do not discriminate when it comes to slapping up people. So, but if you only slapped up one race, then you kind of like, can't you see the difference? If you're somebody who just targets, well, can't you see the difference? So if we're all in this together, yeah, the corruption has to be fair as well. You can't have racism in corruption. Yeah. So on that point, I agree somewhat, but I don't follow that. I don't follow um, that movement because I'm not somebody who believes in centralizing our activity. Yeah. Um, but I do agree with them on certain issues. Yeah. Um, like the need to clean up corruption. That one I definitely agree with. It needs to be cleaned up. Yeah. And having said that now, if I re-examine the issues that are put down to being a Me Too issue, then I suppose there is a racial component to that. Yeah, there is a racial component to that. yeah. Yeah. It's very, very, very hard. So yeah, so they need to clean up corruption. Definitely, I agree with that. But there's other issues where we differ. So that's it. All right.